My name is Troy. My wife and I have a nice piece of property for sale. It's 35 acres in Montcalm, Michigan, which is about 20 minutes west of the dead center of the state. This property has a mix of areas, some with open fields with a few scattered autumn olives, which are scrub brush. Another area has trees once planted to start a tree farm. Another section has dense pine trees. Last is an area with lots of dense burning bushes. There's not been any chemicals used on this property since we've owned it, and the previous owner said the same thing. So it's been at least 10 years since there were ever any chemicals, if ever any chemicals. Therefore, if you want to start an organic farm, it could actually qualify as truly organic. There are 3 greenhouses on the property. 2 of them are hoop houses, which you'll see in this picture, and then a womanized lumber greenhouse. All 3 of them have wire mesh on them and can be closed to keep the deer out. There's another structure that we started to build, also made of womanized lumber, that was going to be a subterranean greenhouse. It would definitely need some work to make it functional. This is a very quiet piece of property. The neighbors like to keep it themselves, but they are friendly enough. There's good deer hunting here, as you can see from this picture where a friend's son brought down his first deer. A monster one at that. This property is considered part of Vestaburg, but it's definitely country. As you can see, it's located almost dead center of the state. It's approximately an hour south to Lansing, the state capital. It's just about an hour and a half to Muskegon on Lake Michigan to the west, and about the same distance to Saginaw Bay, which is part of Lake Huron, to the east. As we zoom in a bit closer, you can see that this property is within 5 minutes from a major east-west state road called M46. If you take M46 east, you can get to town with a Walmart and Meijer's for shopping, along with other stores, restaurants, bars, a quaint downtown area, and home to the Highland Festival. You're also about 20 minutes to the city of Mount Pleasant, home to Central Michigan University. There you'll find another Meijer's and Walmart, a Menards and Home Depot for home improvements, and many other stores, restaurants, movie theater, etc. As we zoom in further still, you'll note that you aren't too far from Riverdale, which has a tavern that's famous for its Friday fish fry. A little further south is Elm Hall, home to the nation's smallest manned post office. Edmore to the west has a small downtown area and a couple more places to eat. Here's a plat map of the property along with a property ID. It's an L shape that you access from Edgar Road, which runs east-west along the north side of the property. Next is a graphic I made from Google Earth image of the property. I'll refer back to the graphic a few times as I show you video from different locations on the property. You can see I've drawn in the approximate property lines in yellow. My journey through this video starts with me driving west to east on Edgar Road to the area I've marked at the top of the picture called Gate Entry. I then walk south along the path with the neighbor's junk cars, turn west in front of the tree farm trees, and then south to the electric service panel and RV. I'll show you the sunken greenhouse and field, and then go further south to the lumber and hoop greenhouses, back north to the water tank stand and wet area, then east to the path, and then take that south to the second wet area and north to the scrub pines. Then I walk out and show you the path that was cut by the utility company for the power poles and gives you a perspective of the depth of the property from the road to the area of where the RV is. By the way, the RV runs but sat for a while. It would need to be gutted and some fixes put in place to actually use it as an RV, but it's yours if you buy the property. Here's a short video of terrible quality driving down Edgar Road going west to east. The property is to the right. I think the thing to note is that there is a well-maintained dirt road. It's less than a mile either direction to paved roads. Here's a photo taken from the area where I pulled off on Edgar Road. You can see 2 paths. The one to the left is a 2-track that's shared with a neighbor to the east. It leads past their junk cars just inside their property line. The other path is to the right and was just cleared of trees by the power company. It's clearly a much easier way to walk, but we're going to start by having me walk the path on the left. These are all burning bushes. Okay, this is where the property wies off. If you go this way, basically facing east, this forward up to the house is about 5 acres that is owned by the neighbor. And it used to be a path you could go this way and get to the back part of the property. Now the only path is this way, and this will walk the perimeter here. This actually is cutting through the middle of the first section of the property. This used to be a tree farm in this area. Don't know what kind of trees they were, but somebody had started putting trees here for a tree farm. Okay, continuing on. You can see up ahead there is a small white sign. Straight ahead there's a small white sign, and that is the neighbor's property. You can see that we had the power company come through and run power back here. And there's a motorhome that we brought back here, or just kind of let it go. But there is power to the end of the property, or middle of the property. All this property is still ours. So you can see you've got some lightly wooded property here. There again is the sign indicating the property line, I believe. And then all this property. This L's around. So this tree line is basically we consider the property line between us and the neighbor to the west. Again, more trees. The utility company had to come through and clear out all this. So it becomes a natural pathway. We'll take that instead of what used to be. The deer like it back here. It's nice and thick. Neighbor boy bring out a monster deer a couple of years ago, was letting him hunt it. See some tracks there. Pretty good sized deer hooves. Here's where the power board is. You will note there's a 200 amp service brought back here, which is what a typical house is wired with these days. Again, we had the board wired so that an RV could be plugged in. Currently the meter socket is empty. The new owner will have to contact the electric company to have a new meter placed. The company at this location is Tri-County Homeworks. I can tell you that they do work really hard at keeping the electricity up, as evident of the path they cut to keep the power lines clear back to here. Back to the map for a second. Again, the power board and RV can be seen about halfway down on the left, which is the west side. Okay, so from the RV, you see a property marker over there, the white thing. That's the property marker, and the property goes all the way back to the very large trees in back there. So not here, but here. And it continues over there. There's an extra 5 acres back in that area there. Here's another view. As a point of reference, that's where the electric line is. You can see that's where we built a subterranean greenhouse, but we didn't put drainage in there, so it filled full of water. Need to be reconstructed. All this property is ours. Continues on again, I think all the way to the tall trees there, and then continues on back here. You can see where those white signs are, showing the far west property line. I am facing south right now, so this is north. The greenhouse is facing south, and again, all the way back to those tall trees there is where the end of the property, the southern portion of the property. This is what I would call the back half of the property. Again, there's the RV. There's the sign saying no trespassing to the west. And again, back to the trees behind the pine trees is the extent. This is what I would call pasture number 2, if you will. Here's a photo of the 2 hoop greenhouses. I'm facing east. This used to be one big greenhouse, and it could be hooked back together if you decided you want one big long one instead of 2 smaller ones. Here's a photo of the width measurement from the edge to the middle of the greenhouse. So the actual width is between 18 and 19 feet wide. Here are the 2 hoop houses, one in front of the other, looking north. And the 2 hoop houses side by side facing west. And here are a few photos showing the truss structure. Again, you could take these hoops apart and configure them however you want. And here are the fan assembly and heater assembly that came with the greenhouse. They've been sitting out for a couple of years and I never set them up, so I don't know if they're usable or not. Okay, I'm in the back pasture, or second pasture, and these are the greenhouses that are on it. This is facing due west, moving towards the south. Again, the big trees back here are the property line. And this continues on to another pasture. This is east and back to north. Right in here I have a platform that I built with a giant with a water container. We were going to have gravity-fed water at one point in time. I'm walking north right now. So you can see I built a pretty solid structure for that water container. And I'm walking north again up into the pasture that has the subterranean. There's the RV. So this is a pasture. That back there, the greenhouses are a pasture. There's another 5 acres back there. And then this extends over quite a ways off to the east. Again, the big trees, what you're looking at. Back north. So I'm in the east pasture now, the northeast pasture. So the RV's back in this area. Greenhouses are here. I wanted to show that this is a little bit more moist on this side, and you can see that we had somebody come in with a backhoe and dug about a 6-foot hole just to see how far down the water table was. And now we've had quite a bit of quite a bit of rain, but you can see that that is absolutely full. So it's about 6 feet deep. But there is water and it's not too terribly far. I think they said they could sink a well maybe 10 or 15 feet down. I could be wrong, but property line is going to be over here, continue on back, and then it jets off, and I'll take some photos of it jetting off. So this is south, this is east, where the RV and the greenhouses are, and this is kind of an L property, so the property line cuts across here. So it's a giant L this way, if you will. And then that property up there belongs to the neighbor, about 5 acres worth. And you can see those cars that are along the path that we walked in on. Looking back at our map for a second, that last video was shot by the wet area, right in the center of the map. Next, we'll do a 360 of the area just east of the greenhouses, and then take the path on the east side of the property towards the southeast pasture. On the map, it's actually, you'll hear me talk about the east side of the property, but it's actually in the center of this map. Okay, this is the other pasture. I am looking at the greenhouses here, so facing west, panning north. So that water area would be in here that I showed you. Back this way is where the Subterranean greenhouse was built, and also the RV would be this way. That's north. As I'm panning east, you can see big trees here, so the property line stops here, and there used to be a path by those big trees, and it goes across here. And then the last pasture is back that way. I think it's about a 5 acre parcel. And then facing south, big trees up there are the property line. You see there's plenty of autumn olive. You know, a backhoe in a day would clean this place up. And then the greenhouses are again here facing to the east. Okay, facing east again, panning north. I'm at the far east side. I'm sorry, that's west. Far east side, and this is the path that comes along the property line. So panning east and then south, and you take this down to the last pasture that dog legs to the east. I keep saying in the video that the path is the east border. It isn't. It's shown on the map pretty much in the center. I'm walking south towards the last pasture, which I have labeled on the map as wet area. I'll then walk around a bit and go north into the area I call the scrub pines. Okay, I just walked the path back to the southeast sector, and this is the back portion. Again, you can see the pine trees. It goes all the way over to those pine trees way over there, and it's a big square. And it's a little bit wetter back in this area too. Not too bad right now, but especially as you continue this way. It's in the springtime, this becomes kind of an area. This is the edge of the property. I'm walking along the southern edge of the property on the far east side. You can see, for example, I think this was where we got stuck a few years back. You can see lots of autumn olives have popped up, and again it goes over the pine trees there, and it's just a giant square. Those pine trees are actually ours. You can walk through there in a minute. Kind of in the middle of this back pasture, the southeastern pasture. As you can see, lots of autumn olive. This used to be all cleared out around here. That's facing west, and this is facing north. So we'll go ahead, and that's facing east. So it's a pretty good size area. We'll go ahead and walk into the pine trees here just so you get a sense of what these trees are like. I call them kind of scrub pine trees. Obviously not a whole lot of sunlight's getting through here, but that one's just a couple inches in diameter. You know, these are maybe 6 to 8 inches. And I forget how far up, but you can tell it's just kind of compacted with all these scrub pine trees. So lots of area for deer. Okay, to finish this video, I've walked back to the left side of the map where the power line path and the tree farm path intersect. I'm looking north right now, following the power line. You can see there's a brand new cell tower there from Verizon. Get really good signal out here. I'm panning to the east. This is the pathway. You go down and then you hang a left to get out. This is what was the tree. All the trees that they were planted for selling, and then looking back south towards the RV. And again, this pretty much, you can see the sign over there, the white sign indicating the property line. We just consider this the property line where these trees are. And Pat's a great neighbor over there, no problems. Okay, this should give you a sense of the depth. That's where the road is. You can see my car parked there. I'm facing north, panning east. You see where that car is parked? That is one of the neighbor's trash vehicles. Continuing to pan south, that would be the back corner of the property. And as I continue to pan south, this is facing due south. You can see the RV. And again, the property line is, maybe 30-40 feet to the right of me. Maybe. And panning west. By far the easiest way to come in is where they cleared the power lines, cleared the area left and right of the power lines. Thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in purchasing this property, please email me at troybracke01@gmail.com or call me at area code 517-599-6217. Again, we are firm on the price of $125,000, and unfortunately we are not interested in the land contract, nor do we want to split the property up. I should note that the title is clear and we're fine doing a quick claim deed. This beautiful property could actually be yours tomorrow. Thanks for watching.